You didn't find this moment by accident. Something inside you paused, even if just for a second, and drew you here. Not out of fear, not out of pressure, but out of recognition. There is a quiet awareness rising within you right now, and it's asking you to pay attention in a way you haven't before. My dear child, this is not about a countdown or a threat. It is about a window, small, subtle, but deeply important. A moment where your awareness meets truth. You felt this before, haven't you? That gentle nudge you couldn't explain. That thought that returned again and again. That feeling that something was trying to get your attention, even when you tried to brush it aside. And still, life kept moving. Responsibilities, distractions, doubts, they all layered over that quiet signal. You told yourself it wasn't the right time. You told yourself you'd figure it out later. But somehow, the feeling never fully left you. It waited. Patiently. Repeatedly. Right now, you are being invited, not forced, not rushed, but invited to notice what has been repeating in your life. The patterns, the thoughts, the moments of clarity that appeared and then faded. This is your moment to see them differently. Because what if those weren't random at all? What if every time you felt that pull, it was a message trying to reach you in a language you were just beginning to understand? Not loud, not overwhelming, but persistent enough that it kept finding its way back to you. You are not being asked to make a perfect decision. You are simply being asked to become aware. To pause long enough to recognize that something meaningful is unfolding right here, right now. And here is the part most people miss. This kind of moment doesn't repeat endlessly in the same way. It returns, yes, but each time it carries a slightly different weight, a deeper clarity, a stronger call. So why has this signal been following you, and what has it been trying to show you all along? Because in the next moment, you're going to understand why you were guided here today. Now take a breath and settle into this moment, because what you are stepping into is not pressure, it is protection. Nothing about this message is meant to harm you or rush you. It is here to steady you. It is here to remind you that you are not alone, and you have never been alone, even in the moments where it felt like everything around you was uncertain. My dear child, there is a presence of clarity surrounding you right now, a presence that does not judge your past or measure your worth by your mistakes. It stands steady, calm, and watchful. This is the energy of protection, the kind that shields without suffocating, that guides without forcing, that waits without abandoning. You may have felt overwhelmed lately, or slightly off balance, like something is shifting but you cannot fully explain it. Some days it felt like heaviness, other days like confusion, and at times like silence. But what you have been feeling is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that something deeper is adjusting within you. Nothing here is trying to frighten you. Instead, this moment is holding you, grounding you, and gently bringing your attention back to what matters. You are safe to listen. You are safe to be still. You are safe to notice what is rising within you without needing to run from it or push it away. And there is a reason you are being brought into this awareness now. Not earlier, not later, but now. Because something within you is ready to understand what once felt unclear. Something within you is ready to see what you may have overlooked before. So let yourself soften here. Let yourself receive this without resistance. Because as we move forward, you are going to begin to recognize why those feelings kept returning, and why this moment carries more meaning than you first realized. There has been a quiet protection over your life, even in the seasons that did not make sense. Times when things did not work out, when doors closed, when plans shifted unexpectedly. You may have questioned those moments, but they were not random. They were part of a covering you could not yet see. And that same protection is here with you now, steady and unchanged. It is not withdrawing from you. It is drawing closer, not in intensity, but in clarity. What once felt distant is becoming easier to recognize, easier to trust, easier to follow. So do not rush past this. Do not dismiss it as just another passing feeling. There is meaning here, and it is unfolding in a way that meets you exactly where you are. And in the next moment, you are going to see your experiences differently, not as confusion, but as messages that have been waiting for you to understand them. This is where everything begins to shift for you. Pay attention, because the meaning behind it is about to unfold now. And now, as this awareness deepens, something within you begins to recognize itself in these words. Not because everything is clear yet, but because something feels familiar. Something feels seen. My dear child, I see the battles you don't talk about. The ones that don't show on the surface, the ones you carry quietly while still trying to show up for everything and everyone else. The weight that doesn't always have a name, but you feel it in your body, in your thoughts, in the way your energy rises and falls without warning. There have been moments where you felt strong, certain that you were moving forward, only to find yourself back in the same place again. The same questions, the same delays, the same sense of almost, but not quite. And that, almost, has been exhausting, hasn't it? You've questioned yourself more than you admit. Wondering if you missed something important, if you waited too long, if you somehow got off track without realizing it. You've replayed decisions in your mind, trying to understand where things shifted, where the clarity faded into confusion. And then there are the quieter moments. The ones where everything slows down just enough for you to feel it fully. That sense of heaviness, like something is pressing on your spirit. Not enough to break you, but enough to make everything feel harder than it should be. You've carried responsibilities while feeling uncertain inside. You've kept going even when your motivation felt inconsistent. You've tried to stay positive, to stay hopeful, but there were times when it felt like you were holding on to something you couldn't fully see. And yet, despite all of this, you didn't stop. You may have slowed down, you may have questioned, you may have doubted, but you didn't completely walk away. Something within you kept responding, even if you didn't fully understand why. That matters more than you realize. Because the truth is, you were never as lost as you thought you were. You were navigating something that required more from you than you had words for at the time. Growth that didn't feel like growth. Movement that didn't look like progress. And those cycles you've been through, the starting, the stopping, the waiting, the wondering, they weren't signs of failure. They were part of a process that was unfolding beneath the surface, shaping you in ways you couldn't yet measure. You were learning how to keep going without clear answers. You were learning how to trust something deeper than immediate results. You were learning how to stay, even when it would have been easier to disconnect completely. So if you've been feeling tired, if you've been feeling uncertain, if you've been carrying more than you expected, there is nothing wrong with you. There is nothing broken about your path. But here is the question that begins to change everything. What if those struggles, those repeated patterns, and those moments of heaviness were never holding you back at all, but were actually trying to show you something you were finally ready to understand? And this is where everything begins to separate, quietly but clearly. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way that forces you, but in a way that reveals something you may not have fully seen before. Because from this very moment, there are two paths unfolding in front of you. They don't look extreme at first. They don't feel like life-altering decisions in the beginning. But over time, they lead to completely different experiences. The first path is the one you already know. It is the path of drifting. Not failure, not collapse, just a slow return to what feels familiar. You start to ignore the signals again. You tell yourself you'll think about it later. You move forward, but without clarity, without intention. On this path, things don't necessarily fall apart. They just stay the same. The cycles repeat. The same questions return. The same almost moments show up, but never fully open. It feels like movement, but deep down, you know you are circling something instead of stepping through it. There is a quiet heaviness on this path. Not overwhelming, but persistent. A sense that something is missing, something just out of reach. You learn to live with it, to manage it, to explain it away. But it never fully leaves. Now the second path is different. This is the path of alignment. And it does not begin with perfection or sudden transformation. It begins with awareness. The willingness to pause and actually acknowledge what you've been feeling instead of pushing it aside. On this path, clarity doesn't arrive all at once, but it starts to build. Small things begin to make more sense. The confusion softens. The heaviness begins to lift, not because everything changes instantly, but because you are no longer resisting what is trying to guide you. There is a different kind of energy here. Lighter, but also more focused. You begin to notice patterns instead of being trapped in them. You begin to respond instead of react. And slowly, almost quietly, forward movement starts to happen. This path doesn't remove challenges, but it changes how you move through them. Instead of feeling stuck, you begin to feel directed. Instead of questioning everything, you begin to trust what you're sensing. And here is the truth you are being invited to see: both of these paths begin the same way. With a moment like this. A moment where you become aware of what has been repeating, what has been calling, what has been waiting for your attention. There is no pressure here. No demand. Just awareness. But awareness always leads to a shift, whether you act on it or not. Because once you see it, once you feel it, once you recognize it, you cannot fully go back to not knowing. And this is where it becomes real for you. Because there is a subtle but unmistakable sign that reveals which path you are already leaning toward right now, and in the next moment, you are going to recognize it clearly. And now, as that awareness sharpens within you, a clearer image begins to form. Not something forced, not something imagined, but something that feels strangely familiar, as if you have stood in this place before without fully realizing it. My dear child, see this with me. You are standing in front of a door. It is not hidden, and it is not locked. It has always been there, but you did not always see it clearly. At times, you walked past it. At other times, you stood near it, uncertain, sensing something but unable to name it. This door represents opportunity, but not in the way you once understood opportunity. Not rushed, not chaotic, not something you have to chase. This door responds to awareness. It becomes visible when you are ready to recognize it. And now, you are. But as you stand here, there is something else you begin to notice. You are not unprotected. You are not exposed. There is a shield around you, steady and present, even if you did not always feel it before. This shield has been with you longer than you realize. It was there in the moments when things did not work out the way you expected. When doors you wanted to open remained closed. When timing felt off, delayed, or confusing. You may have thought those moments were setbacks, or even signs that you were being held back. But you were being shielded. There were things you could not see at the time. Paths that would not have supported you. Outcomes that were not aligned with where you are meant to go. And instead of allowing you to step into something that would drain you, you were gently held back. Not rejected. Protected. And now, standing here, you begin to understand something deeper. The door in front of you did not appear suddenly. It was always part of your path. But the timing of when you could fully see it, fully approach it, fully consider stepping through it, that timing had to align with where you are internally. Because timing is not just about events. It is about readiness. There were parts of you that needed to grow stronger. Parts of you that needed to see differently. Parts of you that needed to let go of old patterns before stepping into something new. If this door had opened earlier, you might have walked through it without the awareness you have now. You might have repeated the same cycles, carried the same doubts, and found yourself in a different place, but with the same weight. But now, something is different. You are not standing here in the same way. You are seeing more, feeling more, understanding more. And that changes everything. The shield remains, but it no longer holds you back. It supports you. It steadies you as you stand at this threshold, not forcing you forward, but making sure that when you do move, you do so with clarity. So take this in for a moment. The door is here. The protection has always been here. And the timing is now beginning to make sense. But there is still something you need to understand, something that will change how you see everything that led you to this point. Why did it take this long for you to see it this clearly, and what does that reveal about what is about to unfold next? And this is where the meaning begins to shift for you, not slightly, but completely. Because everything you have walked through up until now, every delay, every moment that felt like a missed chance, every time you questioned why things didn't move the way you expected, it was never random, and it was never wasted. My dear child, you were not being held back. You were being prepared. There is a difference, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. When you believe you are being held back, everything feels frustrating. You look at time as something you've lost. You compare where you are to where you thought you should be. You feel like you are behind, like something slipped through your hands. But preparation feels different. Preparation is not always comfortable, and it rarely feels clear in the moment, but it is intentional. It builds something within you that cannot be rushed. It strengthens your awareness, your discernment, your ability to recognize what truly aligns with you and what does not. Think about the moments you once called delays. The opportunities that didn't open. The plans that didn't unfold the way you expected. The times when you felt ready, but nothing seemed to respond to that readiness. At the time, it felt confusing. It felt like silence. It felt like standing still while everything else moved forward. But now, standing where you are, you can begin to see something else. If those things had worked out the way you wanted, you would have stepped into them with a different version of yourself. A version that was still carrying certain doubts, still repeating certain patterns, still unclear about what you truly needed. And that would have led you right back into the same cycles you were trying to move beyond. So those moments were not interruptions. They were invitations. Invitations to pause, to notice, to grow in ways that did not look like progress on the outside but were transforming everything on the inside. Every time you felt that quiet nudge, every time something didn't sit right, every time you sensed there was more but couldn't quite reach it, those were signals. Not loud ones. Not overwhelming ones. But consistent. They were asking you to slow down enough to recognize what was shifting within you. But because the signals were subtle, it was easy to dismiss them. Easy to think they were just thoughts, just feelings, just passing moments. Yet they kept returning. Because they were not random. They were guiding you toward alignment, one step at a time, even when you didn't fully respond to them yet. And here is what changes everything. You are not starting over. You are not going back to fix something. You are stepping forward with everything you have already gained, even if you didn't realize you were gaining it. The awareness you have now, the way you are able to reflect, the way you are able to feel the difference between what drains you and what supports you, that did not exist in the same way before. That is the result of everything you have been through. So instead of asking, why did this take so long, begin to ask, what has this been preparing me to recognize? Because the answer to that question is what opens the next stage for you. And now, you are ready for something more specific. Because there are 3 keys, simple but powerful, that will help you stay aligned with what is unfolding instead of drifting back into old patterns. And once you see them clearly, you will understand exactly how to move forward from here. And now you are ready to see what keeps you moving forward, not just for a moment, but consistently. Because awareness alone opens the door, but alignment is what allows you to walk through it and remain steady on the other side. My dear child, there are 3 keys that will help you stay aligned with what is unfolding in your life. These are not complicated steps, and they are not distant ideals. They are simple, grounded, and available to you right now, but they require your attention and your willingness to stay present. The first key is awareness without avoidance. You have already begun to experience this. That moment where something feels off, or something feels right, and instead of immediately pushing it away or overthinking it, you pause. You notice it. Alignment begins when you stop ignoring what you feel. Not every feeling needs to be acted on immediately, but every feeling carries information. When something drains you, when something unsettles you, when something quietly brings peace, you are being shown something important. In the past, you may have overridden these signals. You may have told yourself to keep going, to ignore it, to adjust later. But alignment asks you to stay with that awareness just a little longer. To ask yourself, what is this showing me? This simple pause begins to change your direction in subtle but powerful ways. The second key is gentle obedience to what you already know. This is not about perfection. It is not about getting everything right. It is about responding, even in small ways, to the clarity you already have. You already know certain things. You know what drains your energy. You know what feels forced. You know where you have been repeating patterns that no longer serve you. Alignment happens when you begin to act on that knowing, even if the steps feel small. It might look like saying no where you used to say yes. It might look like stepping back from something that once felt necessary. It might look like choosing rest when you would normally push through exhaustion. These are not dramatic shifts, but they are powerful ones. Because every time you respond to what you know instead of ignoring it, you strengthen your alignment. And over time, that alignment becomes clearer, stronger, and easier to follow. The third key is consistent grounding. Without grounding, even the clearest awareness can become scattered. You begin to overthink, to second-guess, to lose the sense of direction you were just beginning to feel. Grounding brings you back. It can be as simple as taking a moment to breathe, to step away from noise, to reconnect with stillness. It is choosing to return to yourself instead of getting lost in everything around you. When you are grounded, your clarity sharpens. Your decisions become calmer. Your reactions soften into responses. And most importantly, you begin to trust what you are sensing instead of constantly questioning it. These 3 keys, awareness without avoidance, gentle obedience, and consistent grounding, work together. They are not separate steps, but a flow. You notice. You respond. You return to stillness. And in that flow, alignment becomes something you live, not something you chase. Now, if something within you is recognizing this, if you can feel that quiet confirmation rising inside you, I want you to pause for a moment. Type, I am ready to receive. Not for anyone else, not out of habit, but as a simple acknowledgement of what you are choosing to step into. Because this is not just information. This is a shift. And as you begin to apply these keys, even in small ways, you will notice something changing. Not everything at once, but enough to know that you are no longer moving in circles. You will begin to feel a difference between forcing and flowing. Between confusion and clarity. Between heaviness and direction. But there is something important you need to be aware of. Because the moment you begin to align in this way, something will try to pull you back. Not to stop you completely, but to distract you just enough to make you question what you already know. And in the next moment, you are going to see exactly what that resistance looks like, and how to move through it without losing your direction. And this is the part most people misunderstand. They begin to feel alignment, they start noticing clarity, and then suddenly, something shifts. Not forward, but sideways. Distractions increase. Doubts grow louder. Old thoughts resurface. And it feels confusing, because just moments ago, everything felt clear. My dear child, this is not a sign that you are going backward. This is resistance. And resistance almost always appears right before a breakthrough. It does not arrive loudly announcing itself. It comes in subtle ways. A thought that says, maybe this isn't real. A feeling that tells you to wait a little longer. A distraction that pulls your focus away just when you were beginning to see clearly. You may suddenly feel tired when you were just gaining energy. You may question something you were just certain about. You may even feel the urge to return to what is familiar, simply because it feels easier. This is not random. Resistance works by pulling you back into old patterns, not because those patterns are better, but because they are known. Familiarity can feel safe, even when it is limiting. So the moment you begin to step into alignment, resistance tries to reintroduce the old rhythm. The old way of thinking. The old cycle of doubt, delay, and hesitation. But here is what you need to understand. Resistance does not mean you are weak. It means you are close. Close to a shift. Close to clarity. Close to stepping beyond something that once held you in place. Think about it. If nothing was changing, there would be nothing to resist. If you were staying exactly where you were, everything would feel the same. But something is changing. That is why you feel this tension. That is why things feel slightly unsettled. That is why your thoughts seem louder than usual. Because you are no longer fully aligned with the old way, but you have not completely stepped into the new one yet. You are in between. And this space can feel uncomfortable, but it is also powerful. Because this is where you choose. Not once, but repeatedly. You choose to return to awareness instead of distraction. You choose to trust what you've already recognized instead of questioning it into silence. You choose to stay present instead of slipping back into autopilot. And each time you make that choice, even in a small way, resistance loses its hold. It does not disappear instantly, but it weakens. Because resistance relies on you forgetting what you already know. But you are no longer forgetting as easily. You are noticing. You are catching the pattern as it happens. You are becoming aware of the moment when doubt tries to take over, and instead of fully believing it, you pause. That pause is powerful. That pause is where your alignment strengthens. So do not be discouraged by this part of the process. Do not interpret it as failure or as a sign that something is wrong. This is the confirmation that something is shifting. You are moving beyond what once felt normal, and in doing so, you are encountering the natural friction of change. But you are not alone in this. You have already come further than you think. You have already recognized more than you used to. And that awareness is what carries you through this moment. Now, there is something simple, something intentional, that will help you anchor this shift so that it becomes more stable, more grounded, and less easily disrupted. And in the next moment, you are going to step into that activation and feel the difference for yourself. And now, this is where you anchor it. Not just as a thought, not just as something that sounded meaningful, but as something you choose to step into. Because alignment becomes stronger when it is spoken, when it is acknowledged, when it is claimed with intention. My dear child, this is your moment to shift from observing to embodying. So take a breath, slow and steady, and allow yourself to be fully present here. Let the noise settle, even if just for a few seconds. Let your attention return to what you now recognize within yourself. And as you do, I want you to repeat these words, quietly or out loud, in your own space. I choose clarity over confusion. Feel that. Not as something forced, but as something true. You are no longer moving blindly. You are becoming aware, and that awareness is guiding you forward. I release what no longer aligns with me. You don't need to name everything right now. You don't need to solve everything in this moment. But you can begin to let go of what you already know is not meant to stay. I trust what I am beginning to understand. Even if it feels new. Even if it feels unfamiliar. Trust does not require perfection. It only requires willingness. I remain steady, even when resistance appears. Because now you know what resistance is. You recognize it. And that means it no longer controls you in the same way. Take another breath. Let these words settle within you, not as pressure, but as support. Now, if you feel this shift, even slightly, I want you to take one small step to confirm it. Type Amen in the comments. Not as a routine action, but as a declaration. As a way of saying, I see this. I receive this. I am choosing alignment. And as you do, know that you are not alone in this moment. There are others who are recognizing the same shift, who are stepping into the same awareness, who are choosing clarity over confusion just like you are right now. There is a quiet strength in that. A sense of shared movement, even if you are in different places, different situations, different seasons of life. You are part of something larger than you can see in this moment. And that connection, that shared intention, strengthens what you are stepping into. So let yourself feel that. Let yourself be present with it. Because what comes next is not just about understanding or awareness. It is about release. A deeper, calmer, more complete release that allows everything you've been carrying to settle, to soften, and to realign. And in the next moment, you are going to be guided through a blessing that will help you step fully into that space. And now, just allow yourself to be still. Let everything you've been holding, everything you've been processing, begin to soften. You don't need to carry it tightly in this moment. You don't need to figure anything out right now. Just be here. My dear child, close your eyes if you can, or simply lower your gaze, and take a slow, steady breath in, and gently release it. In this quiet space, you are not alone. There is a presence of peace surrounding you, a covering of protection that has never left you, even in the moments when you felt uncertain or disconnected. Right now, that presence is drawing closer, not to overwhelm you, but to steady you. Let it settle over you like calm. May your mind begin to quiet. May the noise that has been circling your thoughts begin to fade, even if just a little. The questions, the doubts, the what-ifs, they do not need your attention right now. You are allowed to rest from them. May your heart begin to feel lighter. Everything you have carried, every moment of pressure, every silent worry, every weight you could not explain, you do not have to hold it as tightly anymore. You are supported, even here. May your spirit be reminded of its strength. Not a forced strength, not something you have to prove, but a steady, quiet strength that has been within you all along. The part of you that kept going. The part of you that stayed, even when things felt unclear. Let that strength rise gently now. You are protected in ways you do not always see. Every delay that confused you, every moment that felt like it slowed you down, every closed door that made you question your path, there was purpose in it. There was a covering over your life, guiding you away from what was not meant for you and holding you steady until the right moment. And that same protection is with you now. So release the fear that something has gone wrong. Release the belief that you are behind. Release the pressure to understand everything immediately. You are exactly where you need to be to receive what is unfolding next. Let your breath deepen again. As you inhale, receive peace. As you exhale, release tension. There is nothing chasing you. There is nothing you are about to miss. What is meant for you will not pass you by. Allow that truth to settle. You are guided. Even when the path felt unclear, you were being led in ways you could not fully recognize at the time. And now, that guidance is becoming easier to feel, easier to trust. You are supported. Not in a distant or uncertain way, but in a steady, present way. You are not navigating this alone, even when it felt like you had to. You are strengthening. Everything you have walked through has been shaping you, preparing you, aligning you in ways that are now beginning to make sense. So let your body relax. Let your shoulders soften. Let your breathing slow. There is no urgency here, only presence. And in this presence, something within you is realigning. The confusion is easing. The heaviness is lifting. The clarity is returning, not all at once, but enough to guide your next step. Stay here for a moment. Feel the calm. Feel the steadiness. Feel the quiet reassurance that you are moving forward, even if it looks different than you once expected. Because this moment is not the end of something. It is the beginning of understanding. And as you gently return your awareness, carrying this peace with you, know that there is one more piece, one final confirmation that will bring everything together for you. And it is about to become clear. And as you come out of that stillness, something within you feels different. Not dramatically, not all at once, but enough to notice. A little more grounded. A little more clear. A little more steady than before. This is how alignment continues, not in one single moment, but in ongoing connection. My dear child, what you felt here is not meant to be temporary. It is something you can return to, something you can strengthen, something that grows the more you stay connected to it. And you don't have to do that alone. There is value in surrounding yourself with reminders that bring you back to this place. Messages that help you pause, reflect, and reconnect when life begins to feel overwhelming again. Because it will, at times. That is part of the journey. But the difference now is that you are learning how to return to clarity instead of staying in confusion. So if this moment spoke to you, if something here felt real and grounded and supportive, consider staying connected to this space. Not out of obligation, not out of routine, but as a way of continuing this alignment. You can do that simply by subscribing, by choosing to return when you need that reminder, that steady voice that helps you reconnect with what you already know within yourself. And if you feel that someone else in your life could benefit from this kind of message, someone who may be carrying their own quiet weight, their own unanswered questions, you can share this with them. Not to convince them of anything, but to offer them the same moment of pause, the same sense of calm, the same opportunity to reflect. Because sometimes, the smallest act of sharing can become a turning point for someone else. And even beyond that, there is something powerful about being part of a community that is moving in the same direction. Not perfectly, not all at the same pace, but with the same intention, to grow, to understand, to align. You are not the only one walking through this kind of shift. Others are recognizing it too. Others are choosing awareness over avoidance, clarity over confusion, presence over distraction. And when you stay connected to that kind of energy, it strengthens your own path in ways you may not immediately see, but will begin to feel over time. So let this not be just a moment you pass through. Let it be something you return to. Because the more you stay connected, the easier it becomes to recognize the signals, to trust what you feel, and to move forward with steadiness. And now, there is one final piece, something simple but deeply important, that will bring everything you've felt here into full clarity. And once you hear it, you will understand exactly why this moment found you when it did. And now, here is the truth that brings everything together. That moment you felt at the beginning, the sense of urgency, the feeling that you had to decide, that something important was at stake, it was never about pressure. It was about awareness. My dear child, you were never being rushed into a decision out of fear. You were being invited into recognition. The moment was not a countdown. It was a doorway into clarity. And the fact that you are still here, still listening, still present, means something important has already happened within you. You became aware. That is the decision. Not perfection. Not having everything figured out. Not instantly changing your entire life. Simply becoming aware of what has been trying to reach you all along. And once awareness is present, everything begins to shift. Because now you can see the patterns you once moved through unconsciously. Now you can feel the difference between what aligns with you and what drains you. Now you can recognize the signals instead of dismissing them. This is how a new season begins. Not with noise. Not with force. But with clarity. You are not stepping into something unfamiliar and overwhelming. You are stepping into something that has been forming within you for a long time. All those moments you questioned. All those delays you didn't understand. All those times you felt like you were waiting without knowing why. They were leading you here. To this level of awareness. To this point where you can finally see what was once hidden beneath confusion. And this changes how you move forward. Because now, instead of chasing direction, you begin to follow it. Instead of forcing outcomes, you begin to respond to what unfolds naturally. Instead of doubting every step, you begin to trust the quiet knowing that has been growing within you. This is alignment. And alignment creates movement. Not rushed movement. Not chaotic progress. But steady, intentional, grounded forward motion. You will begin to notice it. In the way decisions feel lighter. In the way clarity returns more quickly when confusion tries to settle in. In the way you no longer stay stuck in the same cycles for as long as you once did. This is the new season you are stepping into. A season where awareness guides you. Where protection surrounds you. Where timing begins to make sense in ways it never did before. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not starting from nothing. You are stepping forward with everything you have already gained, even if you are only now beginning to recognize it. So release the old story that told you something was wrong. Release the belief that you missed your chance. Release the pressure to catch up to something that was never meant to rush you. You are exactly where you need to be for what is unfolding next. And as you move forward from this moment, carry this with you. When confusion appears, return to awareness. When doubt arises, return to what you already know. When distractions try to pull you away, return to stillness. You have the ability to do this now. You have already begun. And that is enough. Now receive this final blessing. May you walk forward with clarity that steadies your mind and softens your heart. May you feel protected in ways you do not always see, but come to trust more deeply with time. May every step you take from here be guided not by pressure, but by quiet knowing. May the weight you have been carrying continue to lift, replaced by a sense of peace that stays with you, even in uncertain moments. May you recognize the doors that open for you, and trust yourself as you step through them. May you no longer fear the timing of your life, but begin to see it as something that is working with you, not against you. May you feel supported, grounded, and guided in ways that remind you that you are never walking this path alone. And most of all, may you remember this moment. Not as something fleeting, but as the point where everything began to make sense. You are aligned. You are aware. You are moving forward. And this is only the beginning of what is opening for you now.